Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
Well, welcome to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is Robbie here. It has been a few days, but we are back. I am joined by Snail, as always. We have a trio of Penguins hockey games to talk about tonight, to catch up from when we last spoke. But before we talk hockey, on the other end of the line is our old friend Snail. Snail, how have things been going since the last time we talked?
Things are great, man. It's hot out here. Today it was like,
wow.
Well, it was like 70 degrees today. So that's like the hottest it's been this year so far. And it's pretty welcomed, honestly. Actually had to crack some windows in the house. Yeah, dude, just been working and stuff. And, you know, watching the Penguins play out another season, cheering on Sidney Crosby, watching Alex Ovechkin inch closer to Wayne Gretzky's goal record. Baseball starting up all over the country. So, you know, I'm not the biggest baseball fan anymore because much like you guys, we have the Seattle Mariners in our backyard. So, but for some reason, there's a little bit of optimism around that this year. The sports is just, it's kind of a good time for sports. I always kind of forget that this time of the year is actually like, you know, it's starting to ramp up. Like, I mean, the Seahawks went out and got Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp, and they don't even, you know, they don't play football until, you know, what is it, like late August, September. But just like, kind of bearing my nose in sports headlines and all that. So, you know, life's all right out here. How are things out there in Western PA?
Things have been pretty okay. Not quite as warm out here, but the skies have been beautiful. It's been nice. Really sunny a couple of days, a little on the chilly side, but hey, still some of that spring weather out here. But we'll take what we can get. No rain, no snow. Overall, just some really nice weather here. Just got to tick up the temperature a little bit, and it'll be about perfect. But other than that, I can't complain too much.
I have a question for you I was going to pose because I think we were going to maybe do a mailbag, but no questions. So I have a question for you to kick this off and kind of take us in a little bit of a different direction before we get to the scores over these Penguins games. But out in Western PA, is there, like, do you guys have good Mexican food out there? Like, do you have like burritos and stuff, like food taco trucks?
I mean, there's some taco trucks around. It's more of an urban thing. We do have some good Mexican restaurants around here. Some good local Mexican food that I would consider real Mexican food. But as for actual food trucks, there are a few food trucks around of varying types of food. But not too many. That's more of an inner city thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're more rural, right?
Yeah. I'm not in the city. There are some like restaurants or eateries that do have a food truck, especially for like during the spring and summer for festivals and stuff. They'll roll up, but that's more of an urban thing, and we don't really have it as much of an abundance out in my area.
So I guess how many times a week would you say you consume a burrito?
Oh, probably like a week, probably less than one.
Okay, so it's not like a weekly thing or like a
No.
What would you say? Because I was thinking about it today. I've had two burritos, two different kinds of burritos today as my main source of sustenance. Yesterday I had 5 different burritos, and the day before that I again had 2 different types of burritos.
That's a lot of burritos.
Almost a flour tortilla has been the main vessel of transporting nutrients into my biome.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it today, and I was like, out Pennsylvania way, like what do you guys eat I guess if you guys aren't, because out here food like taco trucks are super popular.
Yeah.
Like out here, like there's tons of Mexican restaurants everywhere. I would assume that there's just maybe more of a Mexican population out here.
Probably, yeah.
What is it like? What do you guys got out there that you would say that like, and I'm not saying that you're putting up the numbers like I am burrito wise, like the over under of burritos per week, but like, what are you guys eating out there? Like, what is something that you can say that like is so available and consistent out your way that you might, without even trying, have consumed, what would that be, like 9 of them in like a 3-day span?
Oh, geez. Probably submarine sandwiches.
Okay, so like sub good like deli sandwiches.
Yeah, that or I'd say pizza. There's a lot of pizza places too.
Yeah, you're on the East Coast. Pizza's bigger out there. Our pizzas, I mean, I don't have qualms with the pizza out here because I've never really had any different.
Yeah.
But I will say that like our pizza culture, and I've said that on record on this pod before, it's just not strong out here. A lot of chains. Out east, you get like a bunch of a lot of Italians just stayed out there, and they just created pizza shops.
Absolutely,
like 100-year-old recipe type stuff.
Yeah, that or delis. Pizza shops or delis are two of the. And again, delis you can have a multitude of different food options, but like the deli sandwiches, I'd say are probably you can get like there's so many different varieties of toppings and choices there. So yeah, that what I would say, like, because you could go to a different place every day that you ate lunch and not repeat for like a couple weeks. Like there's just so many options out there.
Nice. Yeah, and like out there, like because God, food's gotten so expensive, fast food and stuff. Like like out here, taco trucks, like you can get burritos. Like burritos are pretty cheap. You know what I mean? It's a cheap form of like sustenance, and you can hit all your, I don't want to say all your macros, but like you get veggies, you get carbs, you can get protein in them. Out there, like that's like you get sandwiches because you get everything. You can have like basically a salad on a sandwich with a little bit of protein, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Not even difficult out here. There's just so many different meat options and veggie options and different combinations that it's really hard to repeat unless you're trying.
That's one thing I kind of envy about out east is you guys got the delis and stuff. Because we have like Jersey Mike's sandwich shop in Subway.
Okay, yeah.
We don't really have like, I have not in all my life that there was one place called Ben and Esther's, and it was there's 3 locations on the West Coast, and they were a deli. I've been there and they were phenomenal. But other than that, we just don't have like sandwich shops owned by some, like a middle-aged dude in there who's just got the cold cuts and he's got the different types of bread. And that's probably where you've experienced a lot of your your taste for mustard, right?
Yeah, I'd say that's probably where that comes from.
I had to grind a lot harder to try mustards.
Yeah.
You guys are just exposed to them. But anyways, Robbie, we can stop talking about the food. Let's get to the Penguins. A couple games ago. Let's go over some scores.
Yeah, so we have 3 games to talk about here. Starting on Friday, the Penguins wrapped up a 5-game homestand with the Columbus Blue Jackets in town. And a very high-scoring affair in this one with the Blue Jackets. Ultimately, the Penguins are able to get the last laugh and pull pull it out here. They win 6-3, so a high scoring affair. Not a goaltender showdown in this one.
No.
Evgeny Malkin gets his 14th of the year. Noah Chari gets back on the score sheet.
33 games, I think, before his last one.
It was something ridiculous. Ricard Raquel gets number 32 on surpassed. The season. And then you have, this is where Sidney Crosby got his first point of the evening here. His 51st assist. He teamed up with Brian Rust. And then Boko Imama.
Known goal scorer, Boko Imama.
Goal scorer, Boko Imama. His first of the season, first with the Penguins. He had a fight earlier in this game. So he gets
versus that Matthew Olivier dude, who is a no joke heavyweight.
Yes. And then Crosby gets his 25th of the year from Matt Grzelcyk.
Awesome goal.
Yes. Yeah. Great goal from Crosby here. So he gets his second point of the night. And then Brian Rust scores into the empty net. Ricard Raquel and Alex Nedeljkovic, another assist this season. If you remember, he got his other assist on the game that he scored into the empty net. So Alex Nedeljkovic gets the assist there. But the Penguins win this one 6-3. They just kind of, again, Columbus right now, a feel-good story, but they really, coming into this game, had been struggling.
Mm-hmm.
This was not, they at one point had lost 8 in a row after this, or that was added on to after this game before they finally got a win. But the Penguins, I mean, everybody kind of scored tonight. You have your big guns. You have Noah Chari, Boko Imama. Brian Rust is up to 23 goals after this game. Ricard Raquel, 32. A good way to wrap up this homestand. A good way to wash out the bad taste of that Islanders game the Penguins should have won.
For sure.
But no, I mean, Columbus is not a bad hockey team. I wouldn't say that they are anywhere near a Stanley Cup favorite type hockey team.
No.
But the Penguins get the job done with scoring up and down the lineup.
Yeah, and Columbus, I think we all picked them to miss the playoffs, unfortunately, at the beginning of the year when we had Hunter Hodes on. But man, they punched well above their weight, and they've got that youth pushing through. Those Russians like the Kirill Marchenkos and Adam Fantilli looks like he's really starting to show. I think he was second overall, right? I think in any other draft he would have gone first overall. He's starting to really come into his own. One thing Columbus had was they had the depth in place. They had the good bottom 6 players like the Oliviers, like the Boone Jenner, who's the captain. And for so long, he's been kind of having to take on those tougher like matchups and whatever, but he's probably a third line center on a good team. Sean Monahan he's been having an above average season before his injury. And then you've got that youth pushing through, and they're all led by a great coach in Dean Evison. So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense why they are where they are in the standings. But this was a game you'd think for their playoff chase against a team like the Penguins, they would have come out a little bit more desperate. But for some reason, the Penguins looked like world beaters in this. The goaltending, I mean, it was all right from the Penguins' perspective. But that Elvis Merzlikins, Robbie, what? I thought that guy was supposed to be a great. He was going to be like a I don't want to sound like I'm really ripping on the guy or anything too hard, but that guy, I just feel like every time I see Columbus, he's in net and he's letting in a bunch of goals.
Yeah, I mean, the Penguins certainly they had no problem getting the puck past him in this game. And Merzlikins, I mean, I saw him in another game too, that is he really the goaltender of the future there? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know. If he is the guy that you want out there to be like the anchor in net as you try to rebuild. They have plenty of pieces there, a lot of really good pieces in Columbus right now, young and veteran, and great coaching. I just don't know if Merzlikins is the long-term answer there, but yeah, I mean, the Penguins definitely had their way against him in this game. He gives up, I believe, 5 goals because the other one was an empty netter. So he gives up 5 goals in this hockey game. And Yeah, the Penguins just scoring up and down the lineup. You play like that, you're going to win a lot of hockey games. It was a nice bounce back after the game against the Islanders that they blew in the third period. And credit to Alex Nedeljkovic. He gave up 3 goals, but he stopped 44 shots in this hockey game. A really good performance from him. A couple crazy saves in this one as well. To keep them, again, they were up, but to keep Columbus without, or keep it a little cushion there in the lead. So I mean, he gives up 3 goals and still posts a .936 save percentage. So just a really good showing from Nedeljkovic in this one.
Agreed. I thought that Ned looked good and stopped what he needed to help secure the dub. That's what you need.
Yeah, so the Penguins knock off the Blue Jackets 6-3. They wrap up their 5-game homestand, winning 4 of 5 in this stretch. And then now they head back on the road, and they head south to Florida, where they started on Sunday against the Florida Panthers. And another kind of crazy game here. Florida starts out fast. They get the lead. Sam Reinhart, you'll definitely hear that name again, obviously, gets the scoring started. But then Brian Russ scores 2 dandies to get to
oh my God.
24. The first one, the power play goal, was beautiful. The second one, the one-handed, just like shoveling it over Sergei Bobrovsky's shoulder to get his second of the game, his 25th of the year. And at the end of the first period, Brian Russ has 2 goals. Sidney Crosby has 2 assists. You're in prime position to kind of control this game. And then in the second period, Evgeny Malkin gets his own power play goal, his 15th of the year. It's 3-1. But, hey, you knew Florida was going to keep coming. Reinhart gets his second of the game and 35th of the year, about halfway through the second period. The Penguins cling to this lead until about 5 minutes left in the game when Anton Lundell ties it. It goes to overtime at 3-3, and then the Penguins are completely shut out in the shootout. Sasha Barkov gets the only goal in the shootout on the first attempt, and Florida gets the extra point with a shootout win. But, I mean, on paper, a huge mismatch, but in the game, the Penguins played even with a very good Florida team and led, and should have probably got that extra point. But again, blowing a 2-goal lead is something the Penguins are very fond of doing. They almost hang on. They almost have their claws in deep enough, but Lundell ties it late, and then nothing else until Florida gets that win in the shootout.
I know, and there's a couple key guys out for the Panthers too. This seemed like a game that the Penguins were poised to play spoiler. Oddly enough, all year I feel like the Penguins have matched up well against the Florida Panthers. Like they seem to play them pretty, like it's not a blowout, like we're going to get to here in a moment with the other Florida team. My only gripe really with this game, Robbie, when it went to the shootout, you just might as well pack your bags and go home, because the Penguins can't win in a shootout.
No, I think they've missed their 12 of their last 14 penalty shots, or shootout attempts, I should say, which is, you're just not going to win hockey games like that.
You're not. And I mean, the shootout, it's a goofy way to secure a point. I get that. But, it just seems like there's so little change in the lineup for these shootouts for the Penguins. It's always the same cast of characters. Robbie, we've talked about this before. Like, why would you not just, like, Tomasino is so creative with the puck. He's a young, creative dude, and he can stick handle and snipe. Like, why would you not just throw him out there for one? Like, is there a book on him yet? I don't think so. There's a book on Sidney Crosby. There's a book on Chris Letang. Why would you not go off? I mean, this is so unlike Sullivan. I'm answering my own question right now because Sullivan is stubborn as they come. But I mean, like, if I were the coach right now, Blake Lizotte got some OT time that game, which is rare. And Sullivan said after the game he put him out there because he was playing good. Blake Lizotte is a speedy little guy, and we know he can put the puck in the net. I'd throw Lizotte out there. You go first. Throw them off. You know, we all know they're going to go Barkov, Sam Reinhart is in some manner. Throw Tomasino out there second, and then just for hell, Boko Imam is on a heater right now, scoring, sniping. Throw Boko out there. I don't know. It's just something different because it's the same cast of characters that there's 20 plus years of a book out on them on what they're going to do in the shootout. You're bringing in youth and guys that have, creativity with the puck and speed and all that good stuff. In the shootout is just, I know that the Penguins playoff hopes died a while ago, but if you're trying to secure a point and secure a win, and you got nothing to really lose, I just don't understand why you're not going with someone new.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you have nothing to lose. Like you said, there's nothing. You're gaining nothing by just rolling out the same cast of characters in a game like this. It's not like you're fighting for every point to make a difference at this point. You know that the playoffs are long gone. I would have been thrown out there, like you said, just 3 guys that you're not expecting to see, because that can throw the goalies off too. Like, I mean, imagine if you're Sergei Bobrovsky, you're thinking, okay, you're probably saying at least Sidney Crosby, maybe Ricard Raquel, Brian Rust. Why not be throwing out guys like you said, Boko Imama? Screw it. Throw Ryan Graves out there.
Just to see, yeah. Could you imagine, like, the look on Bobrovsky's face all of a sudden being like, this guy's coming down? This guy.
He probably would just grabbed his water and stood there. Like, I mean, he probably just would have gone for a little leisurely skate and been like,
he's gonna miss the net.
Yeah, just like, listen, if you can score in the empty net, more power to you. Let's just give you this one. And then I'm trying to what about Joona Koppanen? Like, throw him out there. The dude's played like 5 NHL games. I don't even know if he's ever taken a shootout in the AHL.
Well, he's European. Over there, they like their dangles. They probably do shootouts. They have shootouts over there wherever he's from.
It's a skills competition. Let him go out there and do what he wants to do. Yeah, I would have mixed it up. I mean, it's clearly not working. Coming into
12 of 14. Like, that's not even. They haven't lost 12 of their last 14. They simply haven't put the puck in the net in 12 of their last 14 attempts, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's not working.
What do you have to lose? Like, what? Is Boko Imama just shoots right at the goalie and it's saved? I mean, that's no different than what they do 99% of the time anyway. You might as well just go out there and have some fun with it, give those guys a chance. And no, I would have liked to definitely seen some different faces out there taking shootout attempts, because it's clearly what the Penguins are putting out there is not. There's just no creativity. It's just go down, shoot, hope that maybe you're quick enough to beat the goalie, but you're not going to win many shootouts like that.
No, you're not. And, this is one of those things that in the offseason, if this is going to continue, which I don't see it changing, I don't think they talked about that at the governor's meeting they had down in Florida. If the shootout is still going to continue to be a way to collect points, and the Penguins are going to say that they have playoff aspirations next year, I think you need to start having a shootout practice like every once in a while. You need to start putting a little bit more stock in that and not just throwing out the same old heads, Sidney Crosby, Letang, and company, because it's just hasn't worked for a long time. When was the last time you saw that? There were years where the Penguins God, they had some great shootout players in the past. You know what I mean? Like, God, what was his name? Who was that Finnish dude centerman they had?
Jussi Jokinen?
Yes.
Yeah,
amazing
Jokinen.
In the shootout.
Jarkko
Did
Ruutu.
Did they have Mark Letestu at one point?
They did. I don't know how much he ever shot, though. I do recall him taking a penalty shot. I don't know if it was a shootout or like a normal in-game penalty shot. But I do recall him taking a shot at some point. Even like when Letang, like when he first was given a shot, like he was one of the first defensemen to really take penalty shots. And he was really good. He had a deadly forehand backhand move that goalies couldn't prepare for. and he was really good. But now, again, like you said, that was 13, 14 years ago now. So that's kind of run its course. So it'd be nice to see somebody else get a run out there.
Can Carlson take shootouts? Has he gotten a chance in the shootout that you've
Carlson
seen?
All Carlson should do is just go down, take a leisurely scroll down the center of the ice, and just unleash a clapper from between the dots. Yeah,
I love a penalty shot. I love a one-on-one breakaway clapper. Malkin, like all of Evgeny Malkin. I know that like it's all about you're trying to move the goalie side to side, but if they can't see it, they can't stop it. If you're 10 feet away and you're absolutely winding up, tickling the rafters, slap shot, why not? I don't know.
Absolutely agree with
but
that.
Anyway, something's got to change with the shootout, which might be one of the top 5. And I know there's a long list, one of the top 5 dumbest, astounding things that I've said on this podcast. But if they're going to try to collect points, and this is going to continue to be a way that they earn an extra point, I think you need Sullivan needs to be like, we're having a shootout practice today.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? We need to get better at this. So anyways, I'll get off my soapbox about it, but
so yeah, Penguins do lose that game to the Florida Panthers in Sunrise by a score of 4-3 in a shootout. They still get a point out of this one, and then they head across the state to Tampa Bay. And if Friday and Sunday were exciting hockey games, Tuesday was a flat-out dud from the Pittsburgh Penguins. They go down 4-0 in the first period. They give up 4 goals in the span of under 4 minutes. They give up another 2 in the second. They're down 6-0 after 40 minutes. And there's nothing good about this hockey game. They were bad. Reports were that Mike Sullivan was angry at the team for their effort in the morning skate. And yeah, I didn't have high hopes for this game. They do not play well.
There were reports that Sullivan wasn't happy with the team already this morning.
Yeah, they said he had a couple. Josh Yohe tweeted. Let me see exactly.
Well, I mean, the team's playoffs hopes are gone, and the way Sullivan's system is you play very hard, and they're in Florida in the month of March. Like, God, I could understand it's. God, maybe the guys went out last night. Maybe it's just a beautiful day and these guys are thinking about a tea time they have. I don't know. I don't know what it is, Robbie, but I could see why you might be out to lunch a little bit. But at the same time, the last thing you need for a team that has hopes of rebounding after this season is having professionals, not taking these games seriously, especially when you have Sidney Crosby willingly wasting a couple of years of his career to help this team get back into contention. You don't need guys not showing up for practices. You don't need guys not showing up for games and giving some sort of effort. I'm on Sully's side with this. I think that that's ridiculous if that's the case, and that's a bummer to hear. I thought that, they just caught the Florida flu maybe for a day or two, and they were struggling. But the fact that what did Yohe tweet?
He just said Mike Sullivan snapped on the Penguins during the morning skate, dropping a number of F-bombs on them because he wasn't impressed with the energy level he was witnessing. Thus, I suspect he saw this coming. This referring to the performance in the game against Tampa Bay. They had 15 shots, gave up 27 shots. They were on pace for 10 shots for the longest time, which would have been a franchise record for lowest amount of shots in the game. They did get to 15 by the final horn, but really just bad effort in this hockey game from top to bottom. If there is any silver lining, late in the third period, Brian Rust got his 26th of the season. Grzelcyk and Sidney Crosby gets that all-important point. So he moves within 1 point now of securing a 20th straight point-per-game season, moving him into sole possession of most point-per-game seasons in a career, breaking the tie with Wayne Gretzky. He has 9 games left to get that single point. I feel pretty good about that. I expect him to get it hopefully as early as Thursday night against Buffalo. But the big thing here for me is Brian Rust moves within 4 goals of his first 30-goal season. Rusty's been on fire lately.
Yeah,
he's really he was kind of in the low 20s for the longest time. I didn't think he'd get 30. But again, he has 9 games to get 4 goals. I'm feeling pretty good about Brian Rust getting over that number or hitting that 30 goal mark for the first time in his career now too.
Does Rust get 31?
There are people out there all across the country pushing boundaries to grow the game of golf. Like champion speed golfer Lauren Cupp, who plays faster than anyone else. And Will Lowry, whose work in the golf community inspires more kids to get into the game. As a champion partner of the Masters, Bank of America supports everyone determined to find out what's possible in golf and in life. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, copyright 2025, Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Coffee Mate. After watching this season of the HBO's original series, The White Lotus, this is the tropical getaway I needed. One more pina colada, please.
Hey, you're not on mute.
Oh, I thought I was in paradise. Turns out it was my Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate Pina Colada and Thai-iced coffee-flavored creamers. Inspired by the newest season of HBO's original series, The White Lotus. For the love of coffee. Try now.
You guys, everything at Abercrombie is 25% off right now. I seriously can't remember the last time they had a sale this good. And if you're like me, your cart is about to turn into a massive haul. Use code SPOTIFYAF for an extra 15% off through March 31st, 2025. Valid in U.S. and Canada. Excludes clearance and gift cards. See details online. 25% off everything is valid in U.S. and Canada through March 31st, 2025. Excludes clearance and gift cards. Online price reflects discount.
5 goals in 9 games.
With the way he's playing?
Yeah, the way he's playing. Yeah, if he keeps up this pace, he's going to get like 35 somehow. Total insane year. He's actually closing in on his he has a point tonight, 55 points on the season. He is a point off his total career point total as well. He has he has a 58-point season. Sorry. So he is 3 points away from tying that mark. 4 goals away from hitting 30 for the first time. He has 29 assists, which gives him the second most in his career. So he's he is really approaching some career high numbers this year, which is pretty impressive for one. He did miss a chunk of games. He's missed 12 games this year.
I know, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, sorry, he's missed 11 games this year, which is nuts. He's really just been on a rabid pace recently. He scored in 3 of his last 6 games. 4 of his last 6 games. Sorry, going back to the St. Louis game. Been playing out of his mind. Brian Rust is definitely in position to set a bunch of career highs. Rickard Rakell is still scoring goals. Sidney Crosby obviously will make big about that once he does hit that one more point. His 80th point of the year is where he needs to get to break the tie with Wayne Gretzky. But other than that, there's not really much to take away from this Tampa Bay game. It was a bad effort, and frankly, I put it up there with. We kind of made a joke all year. What was the worst Penguins performance? We had that Dallas game earlier in the season.
This is up there with it.
That season opener against the Rangers. I think this is absolutely a top 5 worst performance of the season, easily.
I think it's probably third, right? I would say the Dallas game, and then there was the New York Rangers opening night. Then there's this one. Good to see Rust and Sid get on the board. This was just a cookie night for Tampa Bay. They saw this game and it was stat padding night. It was It was
Yeah, they
stat
saw
night.
they saw the other two teams, Florida and Toronto, around them in the division win. They knew they had to win to keep pace, and they have a killer instinct. They knew they were the better team, and they weren't going to let the Penguins get one over on them. They went out and dominated this hockey game. All credit to them. They 4 in the first, 2 in the second, and then the third was basically just get out of it healthy, try to preserve the shutout, which didn't happen with the Russ goal. But no, they knew they had to keep pace. They knew they were playing a weaker opponent, and they smelled blood in the water early, and it was pretty much never really much in doubt from the start.
Did Ned start this game, or did they pull Jari?
Jari started.
He started, okay, because he ended the game, right? So,
yeah, Jari gave up. Oh boy, 4 goals on 7 shots. Yeah.
Oh God, he's back to form.
Yeah, 4 goals on. So he gave up more goals than he had saves. For those who struggle with math, he was pulled after 16 minutes. He was pulled after the 4th goal, obviously. Ned come in and stopped 18 of 20.
I feel like there was a point in this game where I was like, yeah, Jari, like this is a Jari masterclass. And then like I didn't even realize it at a certain point. I was probably on my phone and all of a sudden it's like, oh, Ned's in.
Yeah, there was not much to write home about in this one.
No, there was not. We cannot get Sergei Murashov to the NHL any quicker, I don't think.
No. Yeah, Boko Amama did have, I believe, 14 penalty minutes in this one. 2 slashing penalties and a 10-minute misconduct. So, yeah, not a great night there.
For the Penguins enforcer.
Yeah, for the Penguins enforcer. Yeah, probably just trying to do anything in that third period, but
at least someone is, because there are some players on this team that I don't know why on God's green earth they are suiting up for. Like they do nothing some nights, and it's the NHL, Robbie. Like there are bad teams, and there are bad teams that play with more tenacity and heart than this Penguins team. Not the Penguins team. Some players on this Penguins team do. And those are some of the guys. They need to get those guys out of that locker room. Like I know it's hard because it's a business. You need to move those contracts, but I mean, there are some guys like Riley Smith, like when he was a Penguin, was an example of that. There were nights I was like, Matt Nieto, another example. He's not with the team, I don't think, anymore. I mean, he was on waivers and he hasn't been recalled, I don't believe, right?
No, he's still in the AHL.
I mean, there are players that it's just like, it just makes me sick knowing Sid's on that bench and he's just giving her every single night. And I mean, the goalies some nights, I mean, Jari stinks, but looks like he's really trying out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not for a lack of effort from Jari, which makes it really hard to be a Jari hater, but God, he's out there giving her, and you know, there are players on this team that just no piss and vinegar in their DNA. And it just makes me absolutely sick as a hockey fan and a Penguins fan to see. The Penguins, you know, obviously they've been good for a long time. They're in their first couple of years of regression, out of the playoffs type regression. I mean, but this team was always laden with people that have that try hard attitude, you know, like the Tyler Kennedys, even some of the dirtier players that have been on this team, you know, the Mike Rupps, they've always done a good job of insulating Sid and the fellas with guys that try, and on a night like tonight, it just makes me sick.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the Penguins, most bad teams don't have any semblance of cohesiveness, and the Penguins have a really good first line. Like,
I know,
a very real chance that they have 330 plus goal scorers if Crosby and Russ can get there, which is pretty crazy. I don't know how many teams in history have had a top 5 pick with 330 goal scorers on the roster.
That's a trivia question, right there, man. I have no idea.
It can't be very many. Yeah, I mean, it just really tells you how bad the rest of the team is when you have Crosby, Raquel, and Rust. Russ and Raquel are approaching career highs in everything. Crosby's still a point per game player, and they're this bad. something is certainly that is certainly a very interesting scenario where they could be a top 5 pick team while also having potentially three 30-plus goal scorers, which is just absolutely insane.
That is absolutely insane. I was going to see here. For some reason, I immediately thought of the Blackhawks the year that they drafted Kirby Dach, but that's too much research to do on my phone at the moment. But that's a good trivia question.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to look up, especially in today's game where scoring isn't like it was in the 80s.
For sure.
But yeah, crazy. Just kind of thought to me like they could very easily have a top 5 pick while having three 30-plus goal scorers on the roster, which is just kind of weird to think about being a team that's this bad. Just that first line is a playoff caliber cup contending first line. It's just everything after them is just not good.
Yeah, and it sucks to lump Gino in on that because I still love Gino Malkin, man. That guy's he's still sick. Like, he's still a sick hockey player, but with his age and the speed kind of not being there anymore, I just don't know what kind of players you surround Malkin with at this point in his career. I feel like you got to move him to the wing. There's got to be a conversation this coming year where he might be Sid's new left winger. I don't know, maybe less minutes, more power play time. But yeah, to your point, it really drops off after that first line, and that is one of the better first lines. I think Sidney Crosby, is he like top 10 in 5-on-5 points or something this year?
He
or like,
leads the NHL in 5-on-5 points.
He leads the NHL in 5-on-5 points, and we're talking about a top 5 pick. It's just ridiculous.
It's when I saw that the other day, I'm like, that can't be like
that has insane. To be a clerical error.
Yeah, it almost seems like somebody inputted the wrong stats somewhere along the line, because again, it just speaks to his greatness. That's just how great he is. Like, there's nothing you can really say or do at this point that negates anything. Again, they're bad, but it's not because Sidney Crosby's become a shell of himself. And Raquel and Russ deserve as much credit for that as well. 3 guys who have played their hearts out every time they stepped on the ice. Rickard Raquel, an insane comeback season after battling through last year and kind of being in the doghouse with a lot of the fan base. Brian Rust, he's just done what Brian Rust has done for like 10 years now.
Mr. Consistent.
Yeah, you always wait for the bottom to fall out with a guy like him.
No, he gets better.
No, he just keeps getting better. He is as consistent as ever. And Sidney Crosby is Sidney Crosby.
Tyler Kennedy on the broadcast a couple games ago had a good point. And, the Penguins have always considered the core of their team. They added Carlson to that, but it was Sid, Gino, Letang, and Carlson. But he brought up that Rust is a part of that core too. The way that he's played, he's got 2 Stanley Cups, Mr. Clutch in the playoffs. Yeah, he doesn't light the lamp like a Phil Kessel of old and whatnot, but he scores consistently, and he scores well-timed clutch goals. You can put him on the power play. You can put him on the penalty kill. He scores 5-on-5. I mean, Rust he's the core of the Penguins. Yeah. And I agreed with that sentiment. Like, I couldn't agree more with that sentiment that, Rust is overlooked. I saw a comment that he might be the most underrated player in the NHL. And I would also probably back that as well. Maybe a little biased, but around the trade deadline, you never really hear anything about teams targeting like a Brian Rust the last couple of years. You're nuts if you don't want a player like Brian Rust on your team. He's Mr. Fix-It. He's Mr. Consistent. He can play first line minutes and do really well with that. It's not too much for him. He's on the wing, and he can play middle six. And hell, if you were a stacked team, him on your bottom 6 is an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what Brian Rust has done with his career overall. I mean, a guy that was basically a lottery ticket. He's one of those, like when we talk about like the Penguins accumulating all these picks, more often than not, those picks aren't going to work out at the NHL level. But to win a Stanley Cup, you need to hit guys like Brian Rust, and they did. And that's what you hope with all these picks they're getting. They get the next Brian Rust, a guy that is really just, a solid player.
A good hockey player.
A good hockey player. A dude that just loves the crest more than, I think, outside of Crosby, probably nobody, and that's even counting Malkin, and that's nothing. It's not a knock against Malkin, that loves the crest more than Crosby does. I really think that Rust is meant to be in Pittsburgh's entire career. I think he's going to do everything he can to stay in Pittsburgh his entire career. A guy that could have walked for millions more than what he got. He literally signed like days after the season ended when he could have been a free agent a few months later and got paid mega bucks on the market. Dude wanted to be in Pittsburgh, belongs in Pittsburgh, and I'm glad to see that he's doing all this still in Pittsburgh a decade later.
Absolutely. I think what he did was he had a work ethic, and I don't know what kind of conversations obviously go on behind the scenes, but I think he hitched his wagon to Sidney Crosby, and he goes, I'm going to work like this guy. I'm going to play with this guy. I can play with him. Why would I stop playing with the guy? A lot of players that want to test free agency, go ahead and test free agency and get a few more $1 million. But you're trying to tell it's not, dude, the grass is not always greener. A bottom feeder team might go and pay you $3 or $4 million more than what you're getting in on a team like Pittsburgh with Sid. Have fun playing with no disrespect, but it's like, have fun playing with a third line center that's trying to punch above his weight and you're his winger. Not so sweet, man. Why not stick around with a guy like Sid? You can play with him. You show you can win cups.
Oh, absolutely.
You win cups with a guy like Sid. You're going to tell me you're going to go test that market, not the market for money. You're going to go see what else is out there centerman wise and see if it's any better. I don't think so. I think Russ knows that he's got it pretty sweet in Pittsburgh, and he'll forgo a couple $1 million in the long run over a career of making millions to stay with a guy that he could win with. So love Rusty, man. Bottom line, love the guy, love the way he plays.
Yeah, and the Penguins are loyal to him in return, which I think is important as well.
Absolutely.
Goes
a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a two-way street when it comes to that loyalty. Been a Brian Rust fan since he came into the league, and I will die a Brian Rust fan. Really hope that he can stay in Pittsburgh's entire career, because I'd really hate to see him wearing a different jersey color. So
I'd hate it. I'd absolutely hate it. Especially, God, if he came to Seattle, I'd just be the most bit. I'd be like, you guys don't even know what you have.
I think I'd have to buy a Kraken like Rust jersey. Like, I really think I'd have to. Just because, I'd fully support Brian Rust wherever he goes, just as long as it's not like Philly or something like that.
Oh, Philly, that would make me puke.
Yeah, that would not be fun. I'd rather see him go, and just about anywhere other than like Philly or the Rangers or the Capitals or something like that.
Oh God, if he went to DC.
Yeah. But
let's not talk about that. This is a Brian Rust podcast.
We are a very pro Brian Rust podcast, and we will remain that way. Forever. So the
Absolutely.
Penguins lose to Tampa Bay 6-1 in we'll call it a lackluster showing. But other than that, the Penguins in these last 3 games go 1-1-1. They are off now until I believe Thursday.
Let's see. They play the Sabres on Thursday.
They do play the Sabres on Thursday. This will end this.
That could either be an electric game full of goals, especially if you got Jari parked in the crease, or this could be just a slobber knocker of just mediocrity that will put you to sleep.
At this point, I just want exciting hockey games. I really don't care what let's just get some of these guys, some of these milestones. And the best way to do that's turning these games into score fests.
Yeah.
So let's go out, score some goals, rack up some points. Crosby needs a point for another point per game season. Raquel's gunning for a career high in goals. Rust, we already talked about. So let's go out there, score some goals. If we're going to suck, at least let's make it exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
These last 9 games now, which is pretty crazy. Just regardless of how good or bad the Penguins are, it's crazy that we're in single digits of games remaining at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 8 games remaining. I'm sorry, I can't count.
There's only 8 games
Oh,
left?
no. There's 9. There's 9. Sorry. Yep.
There's only 9 games left?
Yeah, only 9 games left. We're in single digits for games remaining at this point. They are away. This wraps up a 3-game road trip on Saturday or on Friday or Thursday. Sorry. And then they do have one more short road trip to St. Louis, Dallas, and Chicago in April. They have not played the Blackhawks yet this year. They actually have a home and home with the Blackhawks in April. One of the little schedule quirks there.
God, they suck. They're such a bad team.
Yeah, I mean, and
Connor
we're saying that as Penguin fans.
Yes, that says something.
Yeah,
but I watched a couple of their games recently. They're
bad. They're
bad. It's so bad. A lot of those guys are having like the word. Like Tyler Bertuzzi looks like he's an AHL player right now.
I mean, we were lobbying for Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yes.
To come to the Penguins. He looks dreadful this year. I mean, the Penguins have 69 points. Nice.
Nice.
The Blackhawks have 51. The Penguins are 18 points better than the Chicago Blackhawks, and we have not been happy for more than like 2 straight weeks for the Penguins this season.
Their best player is Ryan Donato. No knock against Ryan Donato. I like the guy's game, but their best player is Ryan Donato, and they have Connor Bedard. So
they have 51 points. The Penguins are 18 points better than them, and we've been basically yelling about the Penguins since like mid-October. So I cannot imagine what it's felt like to be a Blackhawks fan this year. But they are they're bad. They are already eliminated. They are already eliminated from playoff contention. They have a little E beside their name. Only them and the Sharks are fully eliminated from the playoffs. They're bad. They're just bad. There's no like sugarcoating it. There's a bad hockey team. They're really bad. But before that, we have to go through Buffalo.
Another horrible team.
Another team that, I mean, when a rebuild fails, there's no guarantee that rebuilds work. And Buffalo is a perfect example of a failed rebuild going on, I think, 11 seasons now without playoffs.
Isn't it 14?
I thought it was I don't know. Maybe it is 14. Maybe I miscounted there. That's shocking. If so,
they've rebuilt and then blown it up, and then they've rebuilt again, and they're on the verge of going for another blow.
They had Jack Eichel. They tanked for Connor McDavid. Got Jack Eichel. They tanked, rebuilt. They tanked, rebuilt, sucked, tanked again, and are now currently rebuilding again, but still suck. So
how many first overall? They had Jack Eichel, who was second overall, but he would have been a first overall pick any other year.
I don't think they had any first round overall picks.
No, they Rasmus Dahlin.
Oh, that's right, Dahlin
and Owen Power.
Were they both first overall picks?
Yes.
Jeez.
They have 2 first overall picks, and they're nowhere. They're looking at another one. Maybe they have to make a rule about that. Like, if you can't get your shit together, you're just if you're looking at in the last decade, if you're looking at if you have 3 first overall picks and you haven't made the playoffs since then, you're going to the AHL.
I mean, Edmonton should have had that rule instituted so they had like Taylor Hall, Nail Yakupov, Nuge, McDavid, even Draisaitl wasn't a first overall pick, but he was like a 4th overall pick. Jesse Puljujarvi was a 4th overall pick. That's like 6 players there in the top 5.
Holy moly. Good God.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually almost worse. Even though they did get to a cup final and they've made the playoffs a few times, that's too many high IN picks. And you blew a couple of those. Nail Yakupov is a bust. Jesse Puljujarvi, bust. I mean, there were other players you could have taken. Oh, Jesus. Like, they could have. Yeah, wow. Insane. Draisaitl is a money pick, though. Like, that makes up for it.
I mean, Draisaitl clearly makes a lot of that sting go away from not hitting on guys like Puljujarvi and Yakupov. Just an absolute freak show of a player. The Penguins, they play Thursday night against Buffalo in Buffalo, wrapping up a 3-game homestand or 3-game road trip. Obviously, we talked about all the potential milestones that could be hit in these next few games. Starting Thursday, Crosby needs a point to break that Gretzky record, or to hold that record, that point per game record, all by himself, breaking free of Gretzky there. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else, Snell. I don't know about you, but Snell's saying no. So we'll be back Thursday to record a recap for that Buffalo game. Hopefully we have some goals to talk about, some excitement, and hopefully a Penguins win to wrap it all up. But until then, that's all we got for tonight. We will speak to you guys on Thursday. If you do have any questions for the mailbag, the tweet is still up. Go and ask, and we'll take care of those on Thursday as well. But for Snail, I'm Robbie. We'll talk to you guys later this week.